Yeah.
Are in South Africa, how many of them are undocumented. Finally, this show is going to remind you that we should not blame foreigners for the failings of our government.
Well, today's march is a continuation of our grievances to our government to further reinforce our stand that we are tired of illegal immigrants in South Africa. And more than anything, we are being labeled as xenophobic today because of the government who failed to act on people who are not supposed to be in the country in the first place. And now they have come into the country. They're conducting themselves in the most ridiculous of manners, and nobody points their attention at them. It's always South Africans who are xenophobic.
Fans were left livid. They were fuming with anger after a live stream of a Somalian girl on a live with a bunch of South African black women hurling insults at them. Literally. She was hurling insults at black South Africans, telling them that they are good for nothing, they are lazy, and that is why Somalians, Ethiopians, Pakistanis come to South Africa to open bodega shops all over. That is why they come to South Africa to take the business right under our noses, and they succeed at that. And that makes us jealous, and it makes us livid, and that is the reason for all the xenophobic attacks erupting. There's this narrative that is going on about how lazy black South Africans are, but no one actually looks at the fact that we were swindled by our own government. Our government literally on purpose excluded us from the economy.
Now, Mozambique and South Africa share a land border where many have been moving in one direction. Fear, fueled by reports of violence spreading rapidly on social media, has moved many Mozambicans to return to their homeland. Our reporter was there, caught up with Daniel Timoteo Godinho. He's a vegetable trader. He told DW that after 26 years living in South Africa, he did not need to witness an attack to feel that it was his time to leave.
I am returning from South Africa because of the attitude of South Africans towards Mozambicans, Nigerians, Angolans and Zimbabweans. That is why we are coming back home, because we are suffering in South Africa. I can't even continue my tomato business anymore.
Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart. And what is this something I speak of? Pan-Africanism, of course. What is Pan-Africanism, you may ask? I would like to define it for what I think it really is. That being an ideology that asserts and supports the solidarity of Africans worldwide. It stresses on the fact that our unity as Africans, not just within the continent, but as well as the diaspora, is a vital part of our economic, social, and political progress in terms of the continent's survival. You see, I don't know about you, but I grew up believing that anywhere but Africa was heaven. I thought that being African was one of the worst things that could happen to you in life. And who could blame me? Look at the prevalence of tribalism, imperialism, and corruption within our continent. Now, let me give you a few scenarios that happened within our own country and other countries around the continent. Who would want to grow up living in a country where your leaders are wanted by the ICC? Who would entrust their livelihood to those who use public funds as their personal bank account? And would you want to live in a country that is still ruled by the primitive, divide and conquer ideas left to us by the colonialists? I think that is going backwards, and Africa is rising and meant to be moving forward.
Men's Corner, Lapas Corner, I'm Lou Slew, on location yet again. You know we're busy on the road, guys. And when it comes to being proudly black and African, I've got men who have a role to play in that. And of course, we have to speak about things that expand the conscious mind. And I had to, go deep within and find out what's more to this melanin skin that we have to talk about nowadays. And yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on nowadays. So let's just find out with our fellow brothers here who are part of Science World. Science World.
Yeah.
They'll introduce themselves and let us know what is their movement.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm Simon. I'm a software engineer by profession, solution architect. But I'm also an artist now, and we have a movement called the Black Beret movement. So it didn't start with music, right? It didn't start even with this beret.
Yeah.
It started with where I was born. I was born in Harare, Zimbabwe, in an area called Chitungwiza. It's like a Tembisa, so Tembisa vibe. So it's a township, right? It's a ghetto, and when most people hear ghetto, they hear noise, but that's not what I remember. You know, what I remember is the weight. There's this heaviness in the air, a feeling that life was already decided for you before you even understood what life was. You know, we were poor, but when you're a child, you don't see this poverty, right? You just notice some things like, you know, some kids eat without thinking while others learn to wait. You learn things like some houses, they are quiet because they're just peaceful, while others are quiet because they have nothing inside them. You know, you notice things like people work hard around here, very, very hard, but nothing seems to change. You know, no one explains why. So that's the environment that I come from. You know, and also a part of my life, I was raised by a single mother. My mother was a cross-border trader who used to come to South Africa every 3 weeks to sell in the Eastern Cape, Matatele. When I finished my matric, man, when I was still waiting for my results, I got curious that I wanted to just go and see the life that she was living around here. So I asked her to take me with. And what I found out there, man, it broke my heart. You know, the conditions. I learned how African mothers, the pain that they go through just to put food on the table, you know, and that pain, that kind of pain, it never leaves. So as you grow, you are holding on to it, right? So as a man, you then understand that, no, there has to be something that I can do, you know, because the pain that our people are going through within this continent, man, it cannot be the final, it can't be, this reality can't be final. So this is why we're here, man, wearing these black berets. It's a movement. It's called the Black Beret movement that we have started. It's not a political party.
I was about to ask.
I know. It's misunderstood, right? But with time, man, I think with time and consistency, the idea becomes clear and people will start understanding what we stand out for. So it's not a political party. It's not tied to any existing organization. It's a cultural movement that we're building from the ground up. Right, so the idea itself is very simple, but it's very powerful. So this beret becomes a visible symbol of consciousness, of awareness. So you are saying when you wear it, I'm aware, I'm awake, I can see what's going on. There's a lot that's going on right now. I can see what's going on. You cannot manipulate me. I'm thinking, I'm questioning, and I'm standing with other Africans across the continent who feel the same. Right, so we don't want noise. We want presence. We want to be seen. You'll get into any environment quietly. Beret will speak before you do. Beret, it's powerful. You know? It invites curiosity. Someone wants to know, why are you wearing that? That's exactly what we're going for, because that's where conversations begin. Right, so yeah, man, that's the movement. Also, it's important to mention that real change doesn't always start in the streets with people. It's politics and protests. Sometimes it starts as an idea, as symbols like this, identity, culture, right? And as people start wearing these berets across countries, across language and culture, it becomes a unifying signal, like a silent connection between people who don't even know each other across the continent. Because if you look at it, our problems are connected, man, across Africa. We are crying for the same, simple human dignity, So if the problems are continental, then the solutions must be continental too. So we are a movement that saw a gap. There is a gap in the approach that we are taking to African freedom. There is now a single movement that's crossing borders to try and build that shared consciousness, a shared awareness across the continent. Right now, we are all over the place. We do have these ideas. We do have Pan-African groups that are doing a lot of work across the continent. They're just not enough. We need more boots on the ground. So this movement is centered around artists, right? So we understand the power that artists carry. They are carrying the soul of the nation, Artists, if they could just realize their power, man, that they're powerful. So it's not just music artists. It's, we're going everywhere. It's drama, it's film, it's fashion, design, it's art, it's poetry. These are the people with the hugest, everyone's following them. So if we can consolidate that power and channel it into a direction that actually shifts things for us, then that's what we are trying to do here. And I think another point to mention also is politics follow culture with people, it's not the other way around. What's fortunate about that is it's the people who set up culture, right? So what's the better way than to try to consolidate these artists, right? So I'm World as the voice. I'm carrying the movement. All the movements in the past, they all had music that was walking alongside them to drive the message. I'm not the only one now. We've got artists that we are putting on board because we want Gen Z artists. We want to get into all the genres. We want African music to also get into the mainstream and start, changing the mindset of our people. So that's what we're trying to do, man. That's what we're trying to do here. We are the passion.
No, man, the passion is there. I feel it. I empathize with it, and I understand it gladly. But when it comes to being pro-black, there's so many themes. Like today, I'm wearing my Black Lives Matter. Of course, it stems from back then where I think it was before COVID or during or entering COVID, where George Floyd died and people are in the masses and saying, that's wrong. And then there was a movement that says Black Lives Matter, So when you mention Pan-Africanism, which is another form of movement, I think it's an African diaspora that tries to stimulate this mindset of, Black is beautiful, Black is powerful, Black has so much majestic and a bit of a kingship leadership role that it has to play. In your wise words, how can you describe Pan-Africanism?
So the idea itself is very simple, so all the leaders that lived before us who left books for us to read, and these were not just men, these are men that became presidents, who learned the systems that are shaping Africa from the inside. So there's a man called Kwame Nkrumah, we have got Lumumba, Julius Nyerere, Marcus Garvey, and then so it's the idea that Africa rises together, or we fall separately. The idea itself, like I said, it didn't come from NGOs or from Twitter. It came from pain and clarity. There's leaders, they looked at our condition as Africans and they realized something, that each time that we are divided, we are controlled. So these men, they say, no, never again, we need to change this. They disagreed on so many other ideas, these men, but they seemed to get this one, all of them. They understood that Africa cannot rise country by country, you see. So Pan-Africanism was the answer that they found. In practical terms, Pan-Africanism, it's not just hashtags online, shouting online or talking black. In practical, it's African resources controlled by Africans, African dignity defended by Africans, an attack on an African is felt by all Africans. That's why when Uganda is bleeding over there and people are dying in Tanzania, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia should be shouting about it. When things are going on in like right now, they've been pushing this idea of white genocide in Africa. South Africa is standing alone. Imagine if the whole continent rises to say, we can see what you're trying to do here. So that's the idea of Pan-Africanism. These leaders, they sat and understood that the world respects blocks. United States of America, 50 states. It's a block. There's nothing you can do to them. Europe is united. Asia is coordinated. Africa remains divided and it pays the price. So they say, no, Africa must unite now or we get used forever. Are we not getting used in people? So it's the forever part that we are rejecting today. We are saying we don't agree to that. We don't accept the Africa that we've been given. We are going to take these ideas that were left in the past and we are going to make them a reality. We have tried everything else, people. We have changed governments. We have changed policies. We have changed all these things, right? It's time for new ideas now. And one idea that keeps popping up all the time is the idea that we need to unite, So that's the idea of Pan-Africanism. And, am I not?
No, it's fine. Maybe I can expand.
I have a lot to say, so I need to stop.
I can expand on the idea, coming into the business side of Pan-Africanism. And what we can do as Black people. Because we are so powerful as we are. Don't play with Black because Black is king. We want our kids, we want the next generation to understand how powerful we are. And that has been taken from us. We are told that black is evil. We are told that black magic is, it's black magic, but white magic is good. There are all those comparisons that white is good, black is not that great, not that smart. Because of our history, we've been slaves, we've been enslaved. We've been, when you read about apartheid, the concept of it, the inhumanity that it carried, it dehumanizes a Black person to think that they are just trash. So Pan-Africanism is to speak identity to the African people, to remind them who they are. We are going for consciousness. Consciousness, the mind was colonized. We start with the mind. So around solutions now to the problems of unemployment that we have, we can actually fix it as Africans. We're not waiting for investors to come and invest money. We have ideas, The table that we are sitting on right now and the chairs was someone's idea. We believe in the Black Beret movement that ideas are the capital. What that means is business people, dreamers, thinkers that are out there, we need you here so we can find solutions to the unemployment that we have here. We can do it. Already with what we are studying right now, yesterday, we managed to employ someone. You understand? People that are going to be part of what we are doing, what we're building. That's one family off the street. That's one family off poverty from Soweto. The guys from Soweto is going to be working with us. So we want all the dreamers that are out there. They are there.
We want the ones with delusional ideas. The ones that look unrealistic.
Exactly.
Those are the ones that we want to move with because we're talking about taking over Africa here. We need dreamers and thinkers, right? When he was talking about ideas being the capital, So, man, if you really look around, everything, You know, these are all ideas. The money that we use every day, that's an idea. The systems that we follow, the culture, the systems, the structures that we live under, all those were ideas. And those ideas come from people just like me and you. So the question here becomes, what's stopping us? You know, we are, no, guys, you know, we cannot accept this Africa that we have been given, a life of struggle, a life without dignity, a life where our youth, they look at this and they have no future. We cannot agree to that. You know, so that's, we've got over 1.4 billion people on this continent, and somehow we have accepted that this reality is final. We cannot accept that. So we are here saying this condition that we live in, it was not set by God, it was set by humans, and if humans put it in place, humans can also remove it. So that's where we are coming as the Black Beret movement, saying that, no guys, we need new ideas. We just need to consolidate those ideas. The Black Beret movement is just one of the ideas. We saw a gap, and we are going to maximize on that gap to get into all these countries. You know, Pan-Africanism also on the South African situation. We acknowledge what is going on right now, the immigration issues. It's important that we acknowledge that this issue has been rising for years and nobody's listening, right? From the Pan-African perspective, we are saying we acknowledge that the approach might not be correct, but what do we expect also if we keep sweeping issues under the carpet and we hope that they are going to solve themselves? So what we are saying is, we understand the struggle, we understand the pressure. The leaders are just not listening because the pressure is not enough. South Africa is also treating this as a national crisis. It's not a national crisis, it's a regional crisis, it's a continental crisis. The point when millions of these Africans moving from wherever they're coming from into South Africa, it already becomes a regional crisis. We need to go to the source as well. So the Black Beret movement is saying, we understand the pressure that's being raised in South Africa, but it's not enough.
When it comes to the analogy, because, you know, there's mixed views of, you know, I have this vision of us being one Africa. I have this vision of us sustaining the Black movement of Black excellence, Black entrepreneurship, Black business, all those components that make success as we know it to this day. That we have to sort out our mindset and then we work on something. And I like that you guys have this practical thing that we're not just going to talk about it because it's an idea. It's not yet on paper. It's not yet fully invested into something that is tangible, that you can touch and feel. And so far, this is tangible. So I like that you've brought that into it, because, you know, you talk like politicians and nothing happens. So with that mindset, with many ideas that go around, and especially with issues that we have, as you said, with South Africa, the pros and cons of Pan-Africanism, what are your thoughts? Let's start with the pros. And I guess you've highlighted that, so I guess we don't have to touch that much, but if we have more, I guess you're waking up people, of course, in consciousness, Black consciousness, but you can add on. Let's just hear your pros and we'll go into the cons.
So of course the pros, I've been talking about them, right? And I'm pushing the Pan-African message. I do get a lot of comments and DMs that are saying, you know, why don't you just focus on uniting there? And, you know, we are fine here. But guys, unity. So like I was saying, all these leaders that lived before us, they saw unity, man. There's this book called Africa Must Unite by Kwame Nkrumah. It really goes hard on this idea about unity, saying that Africa will never rise, it will never stand if we remain as divided as we are today. He also even talks about a concept of borders, which is misunderstood, saying, you know, they were never really ours to begin with, right? And then he talks about that they were drawn during colonial times and they separated us into these very small countries, separate countries, right? So now each one of these countries is trying to survive on its own in a system that was never meant for us to win. So what happens now is individually we are weak, we are very weak, we are small, right? So we don't really have the power to influence global decisions.
Yeah.
We also struggle to stand up to external pressure.
Yeah.
And then there are people who say, no, let's just cooperate slowly, let's build partnerships over time. Nkrumah was not happy with that because he understood that what we needed was more than that. He was calling out for something much bigger, like actual political unity, not just working together, but coming together to become one, like sharing power, building like a single strong system that represents the entire continent, working together in that. Because we remain divided as we are. Each country is left to fight alone, right? And you know what happens when you're alone? You're negotiating from a place of weakness, So that's where we are trying to say if we are a bloc, like when we're talking about the world respecting blocks, like the United States of America, there's nothing you can do to them, right? So those are some of the pros that we need to be bigger. We need to be bigger as one continent, right? So we also need to ask ourselves, why is Europe united like that? Why is America united? It didn't start like that. It started with chaos, like the one that we have here. It took a lot of work for them to get to a realization that no, we're actually more powerful if we stand together. For the cons, man, I don't see the cons in unity because the people who may see cons from this, I think they will be misunderstanding the concepts behind Pan-Africanism itself. But if from unity, man, you can only build. Imagine a shared consciousness across the continent, a shared alignment on a common vision for a change, a unifying vision that most of our people are actually believing in, and we start working towards that destination. Right now, we don't have that because without that unity, they also spoke about in that book about our wealth as Africans, saying that it means nothing if we can't manage it properly. So what's happening now is the country's rich. We are rich as the continent. We have minerals, we have got the energy, we have got the land and all this kind of stuff. But we are managing the world separately. So what's happening is each country is working, is operating on its own. So what's happening now is we are even competing with each other in the global markets, which then pushes us to even sell our resources cheaper just to stay in the game. When the world outside there is benefiting a lot from what comes out of our land, right? So Nkrumah in this book, he's saying this doesn't make sense, guys. If we were united economically, we would, for example, things would look very differently because we would not allow just to the export of raw materials. We buy them back as finished products at very high prices. We would not allow that. So I have a lot to say, man.
No. This is a space where you have to express as a man who has a vision that says, you know what, this is what I believe. It's a safe space to express and let out who you are. But I get your point with how it cannot have a con because it's a positive movement of unity. And that's what we need.
What we are saying, let's come together as all these countries.
Yes.
Let's discuss the issues. There's an immigration issue in South Africa.
Yes.
You guys, what do you think about this issue? Right? You have millions who are leaving your countries to come here. Don't you think it's fair? It's not fair for this. What's happening? We need that. We need them to meet.
So it's more of like a conversation and because now there's this thing of you have that very same vision and maybe other people don't have the same vision. And I'm thinking about Gaddafi. He was trying to get every African country into one, and then he got killed. Allegedly, the people were against him, but there was this narrative that was built to say that he is a dictator. I mean, they made a movie out of him about being a dictator. But then there was underlining information and allegedly that says that there was this narrative built by another country that wanted to control, to tame what was going on. So the idea is there, it's great, but there's issues of, as you say, with South Africa. They would say, no, we fought for our freedom. We are still fighting for economic freedom, and there's now a threshold that's blocking us, and it's our fellow brothers. That's the issue, and that our fellow brothers are there for themselves. And I would agree that there's always an extremity of each country and a positive side of each country. The extremity would be a negative thing, of course. Yeah. Whereas you have people who are there doing crime in that country, who are people there who are opportunists, basically, who are willing to do anything just for money. Money can destroy that unity. Yeah. So, okay, on my point of view, with what I've learned is that the unity cannot be united if we do not respect each other's differences. Mm-hmm. Whereas we see that there's a problem because I don't pray to the same God, because I don't practice the same culture, or because there's a different way of doing business. Mm-hmm. So I must understand, assimilate, and try to accommodate that person before I interact in a way that might have conflict. Maybe know the mannerisms. Like Zulu people, you have to speak their language sometimes with Sawubona. Before you be like, all right, I want to do business, or I want to take over this, or I want to be in this society. Let me integrate first. Let me assimilate what they are in that environment. As they say in the Bible, do what the Romans do, so that you can accommodate them and be in that space, not be too volatile, as it say. So in that unity, it can work when we see our differences. As they're trying to say with South Africa, I think, who coined it, Desmond Tutu, we are a rainbow nation. Yeah. So we are in different colors. Yeah. And I'm pointing that out because they try to stimulate that, let's start afresh. You know, there's, forget about reparations, reconciliation. I know. I'm with you there. I'm just giving you the concept of how diversity and including that diversity is important. So the Pan-African movement, what I've noticed that people from outside, they'll come and say, that's wrong. You're black, you can't do that. And then I'm like, okay, let's see their perspective. Do they understand what's going on? Do they know that, okay, for example, the king in Nigeria came through and wanted to own kingship there. And you're like, wait, there is a Xhosa king there in East London or Kabeja. And they're like, no, it was just something else. And of course, other Africans said, yeah, that's wrong. You can't do that. So there's so much that goes on in one place that there's sort of an invasion of this identity of this country now. You are taking, like, Pakistanis will come, do a sponsor shop, they'll come with their culture. They'll come with their own way of living and import that here. And then it's like, let's just say South Africa turns into another Bangladesh underscore Pakistan underscore. Then you don't have the same.
So what I'm seeing now also that the larger Africa is missing. They're seeing these news that are going on. So this is what's happening in South Africa. Oh, so they're saying no. You know, there's a lot of backlash. Mm-hmm. And then I posted on my social media saying I've been a foreigner here for 17 years now. Yeah. So maybe you should be hearing from me. Mm. I've been seeing these dynamics that are going on here. Yeah. The concerns that are being raised are real. Right. So you guys just say, no, that shouldn't. I think it's simplifying it too much. Mm-hmm. Understand the conditions on the ground first, you know, until we get there. Yeah. Then there's a point also that you mentioned about, so unity may be difficult to get to that because of all these things. Mm. Yeah. My answer is actually we are in this because of no unity. Mm. We have this influx of foreigners here because we're not united. Mm. Imagine a federal government that is, this united Africa where we have a federal government, we have got laws that govern how we do things in all these different states. Yeah. And we wouldn't leave each other, so we wouldn't have these so much economic gaps that we have in our economies today, that would then drive people down south to come in. So chicken and egg situation. But I still think we are in this situation because that unity has not been realized yet. And in all these books, man, we've been learning and reading and researching all those books in their different perspectives. One perspective that they agree is that it's only unity that will allow Africa to truly stand on its own. You know, so we need to find our way there somehow, because now the fact that we know is we have tried everything else. Right. So can't we just try this idea that they've been talking about for all this time about unity and see where that takes us?
But then there's an issue of what I realize with the black child is that you guys are trying to awaken that child. Majority of them are not in that state of mind to wake up. As I'm pointing out, we've got differences, and how can you unite with these differences? Because let's just be frank, Africa is not literally black. We still have Arab nations that control Africa. Egypt is fully Arab. You saw what happened with, was it Morocco? You saw what they did. And you saw there was a backlash there that says, you guys were stealing towels. You guys are disrespecting Africans. Even when they were there was like sort of a racism factor.
Africa, I believe Africa is, for Africans, we still have an identity crisis. So we cannot, for certain, define our own identities, based on tribe and all those kind of things. Like there are still questions that we ask within the tribe to say, but there are things that I don't agree with. It's because even the tribes themselves are not refined to the T that identifies you as a person. You understand? So there's religion also. Religion is a very big part of us as Africans. But what religion? Because we had our own religion. We used to speak to our ancestors in a certain way. We were talking earlier on, we used to connect with nature so much. We were one with nature as Africans. Before all these things, the brick and mortar came along, we had our way of doing life. There was Ubuntu. There was oneness. We used to trade with each other. You understand? What happened to our trade? Now I'm talking from the business perspective now. With my very amazing brother Don, we were talking about kings in the Stone Age. They used to trade with one another. That was a way of life. Until this thing came, a foreign thing. And what it did, it disunited. So what it did, it just messed everything up. And then we were now in silos. We were trying to find each other. Like, someone said that my great-grandfather was from Malawi and all that. So we do have those things that we have not found ourselves. We are still finding ourselves. So we have an identity crisis. But what we can unite on is our consciousness of who we are as Black African people. Who are we?
But that's a good one, because now the contradicting fact is that, as I said, and you agreed, that majority of us don't know who we are. And you said we should know ourselves. We should go back and understand ourselves so that we can unite. Some other Africans don't believe in black people. They don't believe in black leadership. The mindset is not there yet. We cannot link the person to understand who they are first in order to get unity. And also with the conditioning, apartheid kind of worked. We are in a colonized mind. We're still fighting that. And spiritually, we're trying to find our way. But it was effective. And the thing is, black people, especially here in South Africa, I would say, they rather have a white person in leadership because they don't trust their fellow black people. And unfortunately, we can see the leadership is not showing good confidence that they can lead. And it's not just here, it's across the board in Africa. So my point of view of the Pan-Africanism as being a negative connotation is that it needs to find a fundamental understanding of different values, especially when it comes to identity, as you are pointing out. If you don't have identity, we've lost the whole concept of Pan-Africanism. Because I can identify as Pan-Africanism, like African Americans can identify easily, but they'll never understand the culture if they come to the motherland. As Aisho Speed went through across Africa, and he's like, I'm welcomed here, I'm loved here, I'm much more appreciated, you know. And once we find that, you know, that where do you come from and what is your hometown, what is your roots, what do they tell you? I mean, there's that DNA thing that you can take. I think it's 23andMe or something like that. That will tell you where you come from and you get to be there. So I guess I'm giving you the solution to that. But the problem is people have rushed to get to this identity or this idea of Pan-Africanism without identifying themselves first. Because I also saw that when I woke up, I was like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. I had to discover who am I? And I had to do my research and be like, wait a minute. We were kings. We had money. Mali had money. Mansa Musa was the richest dude. I think he's still the richest. He was spending money from Mali to, I think, what's the place now? Mecca. He had to go to Mecca to pray because he was Muslim. That information has stimulated me to think beyond what's going on here, you know, and history is more of like his story, not our story, where you get to see Christopher Columbus doing this and George Washington and George whoever and who's that other Spaniard or Leopold the second doing these things that you read, but you don't read anything about your culture.
Exactly. So you see now our education system is failing us.
Yeah.
You know, it's failing us because already from I was shocked. My sister in the UK, she sent me a video of her daughter. She's like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
She's singing all that. I don't know if it's Cocomelon stuff, but she can sing it. Ne? It's like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
She knows where this sound comes in, and then she sings this, and then they talk. She sings all that stuff.
Yeah.
It could be African content.
Yeah.
You know, it could be African content.
Songs.
History that we are being taught.
Yeah.
Bro, we learned about the Chinese Revolution. I think that's why I was not liking it also. Sometimes I was like, why should I be knowing these things? There's Steve Biko that they never told me about.
Yeah.
You know, they're Nelson Mandela. We did not learn that stuff.
The Harare story, is it Rhodesia? What happened to that? What about those expanded stories? Even for example, I met a Zimbabwean who told me about Mzilegas.
Yeah.
And told me that, dude, we come from the Nguni tribe, but we've been rejected. But at the same time, we speak the language that is ancient. I had to discover that. And I understand you said education is a problem. I think the consciousness is about you guys out there. You're not investing in that. You're consuming what you want. You are definitely limiting yourself because you're comfortable in that space that if you discover something more, maybe you become radical, maybe you become something that you never thought you would be. But it's a process and it's important because you're losing the whole aspect of who you are as an African. I'm talking to Africans because you're the lost child. Wherever you go, you're still hated. No matter how light your skin can be, you're still going to have a problem. So I had to discover, I had to research. We know that sometimes there's an algorithm that traps us, but the deeper you go, the blacker the history they say. So I would go and investigate and find out more. As I'm talking about Umzilegas, I'm like, wait a minute, he was part of the Zulu tribe. Then he made other tribes that, you know, he amalgamated with because he was running away, and he ended up at Zimbabwe, where there's Bulawayo, and then there's other places where you can hear the dialect is different. So that is rich history. Zambia, Mozambique, they also have a bit of Zulu, this and that. and you wonder what the heck is going on. What's the missing link? So I would say that it's the history that we need to be taught, but unfortunately, the people are not ready for that because they don't want to get into that space. Until you guys have that opportunity to expand and we have these uncomfortable conversations of, okay, does Pan-African work? How come it doesn't work? These are the issues that us.
There is another element also that I think I need to touch on. The flow of information, information systems. Whoever controls the information controls the narrative. You know, whoever decides what is visible, what is hidden, what is promoted, they shape how people think. So what's happening right now to Africa is our African narrative. It is filtered, through these social platforms. These and they are colonial in nature. These algorithms, they are colonial in nature, guys. So our voices, most of our voices, they are being filtered. They are being misrepresented. They are being deprioritized, right? So the idea here, if Africa doesn't own its own flow of information, we have a problem because Africa will keep reacting to narratives that are created somewhere else. So again, where I'm coming in is the Black Beret movement and this idea that we need to own the flow of information. We need to own apps that compete with Facebook and Instagram that push a different narrative. We need to own these media houses because only then Africa can truly define itself. It can educate its own people. We can protect the ideas that matter to us. Because liberation without narrative control, before it cannot get us anywhere, right? China understood this. That's why they say no. We have our own TikToks. We have our own this because we need to push our own narrative. You see, so we are going to own those systems. As I said, I'm also a developer, I'm an IT solutions architect. We are reaching out to other developers, African developers, to develop apps that are designed by Africans for Africans, hosted on African soil. This is something that's coming because we understand that message, that education, those messages, we have them already on the platforms. They are not getting pushed. You see, they're getting filtered, they are getting deprioritized. So until we also understand very well, until we own the flow of information. It's gonna be rough.
So and this is the perfect time to as well as expand it to the viewers. You know, there's information is there, and you guys want to collate it and put it together, because no one would sit there and say, I don't know about the French Revolution. You know, they would Google it and say. Even us, we've got a debate in South Africa. Did the white people come before the black people? And you're like, oh no, the Khoisan now are being, I would say, I think I'll be, cancelled here. That Khoisan are colored people, but then when you look at apartheid back then, you would say colored is a mixture of black and white. That's when it was coined. It wasn't saying like back then where the Khoisan were there and they're like, we are colored. No. But there's that confusion. There's not enough information, and information can be manipulated. So you're gonna have that library, digital library, probably that will assist.
So sorry to cut you. So for practical steps that we want to take is we want to find each other. We are everywhere. Conscious people are everywhere. Like there are so many of them that are watching here. They're there. We need to find each other and go back to basics. So the basics that we want to do as the Black Beret movement, this is a symbol. This is a symbol to inform everyone that I'm awake, I'm conscious, and I'm aware of what is happening around me. And we need to find each other in that space. So we're going to come around one common activity, which is hiking. So we're going to be hiking, connecting with nature, artists, dreamers, thinkers, all of us. You're going to be finding us around Africa, in the mountains.
No more social media.
No more social media. Well, we'll be pushing on social media. Pushing on social media. Exactly. But we want to connect, have conversations, real conversations. Who are we? So we're going to have book clubs because we need to read. You know, leaders are readers. If we're going to change culture and stop people from consuming junk, because there's a lot of junk. That junk has now gotten into music and it has gotten into culture. So we want to change culture, flip it back.
It's the same as like what the capitalist nigga said. A black man with a gun is not a threat, but a black man with a book or education.
So we want to go there. You know, we meet every Saturday with all the artists, with the dreamers, business people will be there. We'll be having conversations.
So it's not only going to end here, right? We are setting this up here. We are moving. We already have brothers in Zambia. We have got people in Kenya. We have and we are going to get into these different countries. We set up, people meet. We are going to be posting all that content.
And then what if, because it's, when I see the Black Beret, it's, Beret, as you said, it was just with the T, Beret. You know, and you're dressed in black. It reminds me of the Black Panther movement, and there's this connotation that you are a bit radical and all that. Do you think it's going to have a mixed message?
Yeah, so I do understand the misunderstanding that comes with the beret, the radicalism and all that stuff. But any new idea, man, it comes with misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is cool though because it invites conversation. Conversation then brings clarity, right? So no, we are not fearing misunderstanding because we should be misunderstood. If this was just going to, if people were just going to get it, then it wouldn't be powerful enough. It would just blend into anything that's going on. No, we want to disrupt that.
It's a bit controversial that they are question what's going on.
So we understand that it's a journey. It's a process, right? Of course, it's very easy to dream big, man, big visions. But true change, like real change, it happens person by person, connection by connection, you know. So we understand that, no, it's going to take time. So the patience is there. Of course, sometimes it's tough, man. You are looking at these people and you're like, these people are sleeping, man. How do we wake them up? You shout like they're sleeping, you know. So I think I find solace and that peace in just understanding that real change is a process. And hang on to that. And as we say that this world is built on ideas, it's people. We were so serious and fixated on their ideas and they refused to let go. That's why we are living on their ideas today. The Black Beret movement is one of that idea that we are going to refuse. We are going to do. I saw my brother Don here has a tattoo written by any means necessary. We are going to do what we can. When you look at the African condition right now, as a man, there should be a fire in you that says, what can I do to play a role, to just anything different, you know, anything. Like what you are doing, brother, you are amplifying this message, you know. We need a lot of you who are taking this message and amplifying it. That's playing a huge role. And it's a spiritual role. You know, we're talking about identity here. We are talking about purpose. We are talking about connection. These are spiritual elements that you are amplifying into the world. It's a spiritual role, you know. So, yeah, man.
So with the drive and the idea to give that sense of pride being an African, there's this sense that sometimes it will exclude others. Do we have our own island, because the no man is an island kind of thing, because we try to unite? Does it include other races in terms of maybe they see the sense of what's going on, we want to be part of it? And of course, when we say Pan-Africanism, we're not just saying black, because there's other races that are different.
We have got, in South Africa here, we've got millions of white people. We've got white people everywhere in Zimbabwe and stuff, and these have become part of the African society. They are also facing these issues that we're going through, right? So they are directly affected. Though even though we are trying to empower the Black community. Even if you see in the movements that lived before us, the Martin Luthers, the Malcolm X's, they had wide following that were, that were also pushing and supporting the movement. So it includes everyone, right?
Because the funny thing is that, and I'm talking to the other races, they technically are Africans.
Yeah.
But, and this is where I sort of investigated that dual citizenship doesn't really work, because due to the fact that where you come from, the original country that you come from, is where your loyalties lie. So now there's a conundrum of Afrikaners going to USA because you said white genocide. Where's their identity? Is it because of the color of my skin, or am I at the place of origin that identifies with me? Because they even contradict themselves in a way that, I'm white and therefore I have to go to America because there's a white genocide. It's not an Afrikaner genocide, it's a white genocide. But I'm Afrikaner because I was birthed there. My history is there. Does it classify you as an African? So what do you think about that dilemma that we have?
Yeah, I think that identity, we are all, like, not only Africans do we have this identity crisis, but also when we look at where we are right now, as humanity, we just need to find each other. We don't want to say white people go back where you came from. That's not what we want. We are saying, let's look at the situation. What can we do together now that you are here? Now that you're already here,
you are here.
Can we just find each other again? Yeah. Because we don't want blood. We don't want bloodshed. We don't want. This is not a revolution that's going to walk around with guns or anything. We are going to walk around with conversation.